I just love how the light pours into this sanctuary. Sun or rain, snow on the ground, each time I come here, there's a different kind of light in this space. There's something holy about the proportions of these windows and the light that they let in. These particular windows are not original to the building. They were custom designed to recall the ones that they replace. The original windows really had withstood the tests of time over the last 150 years. They were also painted shut, if you could believe that, for the last 30 of those years. Soon after I arrived to serve as minister of this congregation, a capital campaign was launched with the goal of replacing the windows so that we could worship in this sanctuary year-round, something that wasn't possible before. Members of this society raised the funds and the windows were replaced to everyone's delight. There's an old saying in the Christian New Testament that the eyes are the windows to the soul. They disclose the true character of a person and their deepest motivations. I say that these windows capture the soul and the true character of Unitarian Universalism. The Puritans, we might remember, were chief among the iconoclasts of old, both here in New England and in Old England. Even today, one can visit churches overseas where these religious zealots remove the stained glass windows and deface the statues of venerated religious figures in the ancient stone churches there in the 17th century. They did this because they were so zealous for a purified or precise religion. Here in New England, however, in this New Jerusalem, churches could be built from the ground up with the Puritan sensibilities in mind and with their fervent asceticism of that religious tradition already reflected in the design. The Puritans were Trinitarians, and as such, they were Orthodox Christians. And they were very deeply interested at getting to the heart of faith as they understood it. And they did this by chipping away at anything that seemed to get in the way of true faith. And some of their descendants kept removing impediments wherever they found them. The absence of color, ornamentation, or any distraction in these windows is purposeful. The fact that they are at eye level shows the importance of the unmediated encounter with the holy. An encounter that so many Unitarian Universalists find in the natural world. The clarity of these windows allow for the changing light of the seasons. They allow for the weather to be a part of the worship service, which for us is a celebration of life rather than an escape from it. These windows are an apt symbol for Unitarian Universalism today. The 20th century theologian, the Reverend Dr. Forrest Church, yes, that is his name, Forrest Church, who was a longtime minister of All Souls Church in New York City, uses the window metaphor as a description for a new Universalist theology. He wrote, "None of us are fully able to perceive the truth that shines through another person's window." And he said that our religious beliefs are, in essence, a window frame through which we mediate and filter the light of God. And this light comes to us from some far-away source out there. Now, you might be wondering to yourselves, do Unitarian Universalists even believe in God? The answer to that question depends on who you ask. Unitarian Universalists are guided by the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. Beyond that, each individual is free to come to their own conclusions, or no conclusion at all, about ultimate reality and what that means to them. Some Unitarian Universalists are theists, others are atheists. They are agnostic and pantheistic, or humanists. It depends on where they are on their lifelong spiritual journey. These and other labels, if Unitarian Universalists choose to accept them, are generally provisional and subject to change upon further investigation. Most Unitarian Universalists are not strident in their views. Instead, they take an open-minded approach and see their beliefs rather like working hypotheses rather than unchanging laws. Forest Church gives a very generous treatment to the concept of God in Unitarian Universalism. And I want to read a direct quote of his. God language, he writes, can tie people into knots, of course, in part because God is not God's name. God's name refers to the highest power we can imagine. God is our name for that which is greater than all, yet present in each. For some, the highest imaginable power will be a petty, angry tribal chieftain, ensconced in the high clouds on a golden throne, visiting punishment on those who don't believe in him. For others, the highest power is love, goodness, justice, or the spirit of life itself. Each of us, he writes, projects our own limited experience onto the cosmic screen or window in letters as big as our mind can fashion. For those of us whose vision is constricted, illiberal, or narrow-minded people, this can have horrific consequences. But for others, the magnificence of creation inspires broad imagination and sympathy, answering to the highest and best within and beyond themselves. These people, they draw lessons and find meaning so redemptive that surely it touches the divine. These are his words in the Cathedral of the World, a Universalist theology. These windows allow for so much imagination, so much creativity, sympathy. They are a gentle and a gently mediating encounter with the holy. And I'm so glad that they are here, and they're easy to maintain.